Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Thursday morning out here in British Columbia. And I think it's afternoon there in Ottawa or Ontario. My name is Anne Cadwell. I'm the landscape specialist for the Canadian Nursery Landscape Association. And we're here today just to talk about Job Bank, how to post, why we need to do it, why it's important. We have Emmerich, who is from the Job Bank stuff. He's actually Emmerich is also, he loves to grow plants. So he's passionate about our industry, which is wonderful. So he's here today to kind of show us how to do it, why we need to do it, and answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you very much, Anne. My name is Emerick Zanetto. I've been working with the Job Bank for over almost 9 years now. I work with the outreach team, so we talk to all kinds of sectorial partners across Canada, all kinds of industries, chambers of commerce, provinces and territories as well, and other departments. We, I work within Employment and Social Development Canada. Some of you might be familiar with EI, you might be familiar with Temporary Foreign Worker Program, Passport Canada, and all that. This is one big family. We do talk to each other, but not all the time. Yes, I am a gardener. I do have my own greenhouse. I do use the services of a lot of garden centers and greenhouses all over Ontario, among others. And my dad had a contracting business as a builder and worked as a landscaper in the summer. So I do have landscaping experience. No, I am not looking for a side job for the summer. But no, I do have a lot of experience. So does my spouse, actually. She worked as a landscaper as well. And so we have a keen interest in the topic. So Job Bank. It's been around for quite a while now. But because we do update the website often, we do update who we work with and how we work often. And by often, I mean some changes happen every 2 months. So if you've been to jobbing, let's say 3, 4 years ago, it might not look the same. It might get a little look and feel at first, but then once you go and go, oh, I didn't know you could do that. And one of the things that we do, and you may have noticed already, if you use other job boards to post jobs for all your needs there, is that we actually have partners. Some companies, some private job boards reached out to us and said, we'd like to work with you. Basically, we'd like some of our jobs to be on Job Bank. We'll vet them and we'll make sure they're on Job Bank. And we would like to host some of your Job Bank jobs on our job board. So they have more jobs to offer. Some of them you already know them. It's Indeed, ZipRecruiter, among others, Jobilico, mostly focusing in Quebec, even though they're expanding. We're working with Career Beacon, pretty active in the Maritimes and Atlantic. We have other ones like careers in agriculture, all that, like lots of partners. So what happens sometimes is that some employers ask us, well, why do I need to use Job Bank? If I post a job on some of these guys' job boards, they'll be on Job Bank, and vice versa. So you can use Job Bank, which is free as well. Not saying you should use the other one, but the idea is that to maximize exposure, it's never a bad move to post your jobs on Job Bank for free. Know that they'll get picked up. And in the other way, if you're thinking, well, I don't want the job to appear everywhere, I don't want that much exposure. You can ask to opt out. So you could reach out to us if you post your jobs on Job Bank, or let's say Indeed, something like that. So you wouldn't want the jobs to appear in too many places. But that's something that we've been working on for the past few years. Partnerships like this with what we call contributing job boards to maximize your visibility. Another thing that we've heard from employers over the last few years was that they were getting applications from outside the country. There's so much we can do about that. We've done a few things. One of them is that we hide the how to apply method. So you actually have to have a physical click to see how to apply for the jobs. And we do offer something directly on Job Bank. If you create your job on Job Bank, it's called Job Match. As the name suggests, it will match you to job seeker profiles on Job Bank. Those job seekers must have a social insurance number issued in Canada, meaning that people outside the country cannot apply for the job directly. They might still see the job. They might not be able to apply directly what we have is what we call direct apply, which will allow you to apply directly to the job through Job Bank. And on top of that, so I will show you all that, but I'm just showing you some of the benefits there. The job match option is great because the direct apply is super fast. Like you can receive an application the same day your job was approved, and it's pretty much under 2 business days for your jobs to be reviewed. Know that your jobs will be reviewed where the job will be. So we have partnerships with provinces and territories. If your jobs are in Ontario, it will be the provincial team we're working with that has been trained to review those jobs. They know the labor laws and labor standards of Ontario better than we do, so they're the ones who handle that. If you're in Saskatchewan, that'll be Saskatchewan, BC. That's the BC team in Victoria. So they know better, and also they are within your time zone. So that's why it's pretty efficient. If you already have your employer file, you're set, you're good to go. If it's been dormant for a little while, we may need to check with you that everything's okay, that you didn't change anything like new names or operating names. But besides that, usually it's pretty easy. One of the questions we get sometimes is people ask us, well, I don't handle that. Somebody does it for me, a recruiter, somebody who will work with me, and even at times, immigration agent who will I'll just pay them. They'll post the jobs on Job Bank and they will help me recruit people. That's fine. We're totally fine as long as we know who's who in the employer file, like that you authorize them, you're good with them doing this for you on your behalf, then we're totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You can even have your employees do it for you, even relatives, nothing wrong with that, as long as everybody's identified and we know who is who clearly, we're fine with that. So basically, the advantage you get from posting directly on Job Bank is that, well, of course, that exposure, we know the jobs are seen by a lot of people, and also that you can be matched to those job seeker profiles. They'll be anonymous, but you can send them invitations to apply. So the way it works on Job Bank, we don't have free text. You cannot start writing what you think the people would like to do. You go from what we call the NOC, the National Occupation Classification list. It's all the jobs put into categories. In yours, there's about 4 NOCs that pretty much, take into account anything in greenhouse, nurseries, horticulture, landscaping, separating them, of course, and I'll just put everything in one bundle. And under this generic NOC and title, there are a lot of jobs that fall into this category. So you'll see a few differences. You'll see, for example, landscape designer, landscape laborer, landscape worker. So each one may have, some of them might be more or less the same. Laborer, worker might be more or less the same, but the designer, that's a bit different. And some of them might lead to certifications. So, and that's something we're working on right now as well, to add certifications from CNLA directly on the job posting creation. So you'll be able to say, hey, it would be great if you were a member. Boom, that's a plus. Sometimes it's a deal breaker. People will say, if you don't have that kind of certification, I can't hire you. Sometimes it's a bonus, a plus, and we'll make sure that job seekers have that option. So the way it works, if it's not free text, is that it's that NOC database. Basically, all the descriptions that make sense for these jobs will be little boxes, and you select them. You just go, and I'm going to show you how to do that right away. How to create a job posting, and the database is the same for job seekers when they talk about the jobs they've had in the past. So if you're looking for landscape labor, what you will see in those descriptions will be the same things. Like, do you know how to apply, a level of screening stone? Do you know how to apply sand dust? Do you know how to put pavers? Do you know how to use, levelers? Like, do you know how to use all these things? If they say yes, they just tick the box, and it will be a direct match with yours. It's easier to uh, to 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 make sense of all this, and the system will grant you a percentage of how much it makes sense with what you want. So the more they have that you need, the higher the percentage of that match. It will be broken down into several categories. The first one will be where they are. Can they work there? Can they get there? Do they speak the language that you need at work? And do they have the experience that you're looking for? You might be looking for no experience. That's the type of experience you want. No experience. We can train you. And the education. Sometimes no education is needed. Sometimes you will need something. You might need a trade diploma, certificate, something. And of course, the last one is the credentials. Do they have those credentials you want? Sometimes you need to be part of an order. Sometimes you need to have criminal check, background check, and all that. So the advantage is that because there's no free text, it's an easy matching process for you and the job seeker. You can invite them to apply. They can apply directly with direct apply. And I've seen cases where employers posted a job, the job was reviewed by the provincial territorial agents where they are. The job went live. People get to see it right away. They even get alerts, those job seekers. If you're in the landscaping business, horticulture business, and those keywords do ring a bell and arrive in your dashboard, and you're like, "Ooh, that looks like a good job." Better than that, this employer already looked at your anonymous profile with all the green check marks for everything that makes sense. They sent you an invite. The ice is already broken on this one. You already did the first step. You're inviting them to reply. Now you can receive their resume if you want, and you can review it all on JobBank. All of this can be done on JobBank. Posting your job, checking how many people looked at your job, how many profiles you already viewed, who you already invited, and even better, those, not all job seekers do it, but they can click a button to say they're interested in applying. They might not apply, but at least they're telling you that your job is interesting to them. All kinds of data metrics that you could use, leverage for free again, and take advantage because it's really easy once you get started. At first, it might be intimidating a little bit. Another really interesting thing on JobBank is that you can actually copy paste your jobs. You don't have to restart from scratch every year because chances are you will be posting jobs at a specific time of the year to plan for recruitment. And you might do like an end of the season thing as well. Then later on, the next year, then you're doing it again. And it's like, oh, I have to start creating this job posting again. It's like, nope, take the old one from last year, maybe update the salary, maybe update a few things that need to change. Oh, we're a forklift now. They need to be able to operate a forklift. Okay, add forklift to the skills. And that's it. It should take you 2, 3 minutes tops. And that's it. Again, your job will be reviewed under 2 business days and you're good to go. So I'm gonna take a super quick break right now to make sure that there are no questions in there. What I'm gonna show you is the what we use as a training environment. So it's like a 100% clone of the real thing. So it's going to look exactly like what you guys will see on JobBank. Target underrepresented. Yes, I'm going to talk about underrepresented groups. Actually, that was my next one. Stacy, wow, you didn't work for JobBank before, right? Okay. No, we have a big focus on underrepresented groups, and sometimes underrepresented groups change from one department to another. That's true. The definition can change, but overall, you will see very often that it's newcomers to Canada, seniors, youth, veterans, persons with disabilities, Indigenous people. And sometimes, if you go to other departments, they may add people like homeless people. Some of them put other groups of underrepresented groups. There was a debate a few years back on which underrepresented groups we should add or rename. There was one, at one point, it was just called older workers. And we got a lot of feedback of people telling us, how about mature workers? Like, okay, mature workers, we could do that. We did it. We did that. So I'm going to show you that right away, actually. So I'm showing you the JobBank the main page. You guys would sign in right here. And once you sign in right here, if you already have what's called a Plus account, I'm going to show you a little bit. Not going to go through the whole process, but if you already have it, you're good to go. If it's dormant, by logging in, you should reactivate it. It shouldn't be an issue. If there is, you can always contact us, but normally not a problem. Just a quick reminder not to exchange passwords, log in, and all that. And go back just one sec. So I want to show you what it entails to create a plus account on JobBank. Because you will have to share one time only some personal information that we can check with the database on the Service Canada database. Basically, that all the information you're providing is true, that you're eligible. By eligible, we mean Canadian citizen, permanent resident of Canada, and even temporary foreign worker of Canada. Basically, you have a Canadian social insurance number. Um, Now, your employer won't see that. We don't see it. It's just like we call it a ping from one database to another. It comes back. Yeah, the information provided is correct. We're good. That person is eligible. And on top of that, they don't already have an account because you can only have one. We want to avoid duplicates. So basically, that's what you would need as an employer. If you already have that, you're good to go. If you had this a few years back, you may need to update. Again, it's free, takes just a few minutes. It's fairly easy. And that's pretty much it. Again, our agents do not see your personal info, and we're not interested in seeing it. That's for you. It's for you to be eligible there. And sometimes people tell me, well, I have a Plus account. I used to work for this business, but now I work for another one. You're fine. Just update that email at one point. And if you logged out completely, you can't even get to that email. Just give us a call, and we'll make sure to update that for you. We'll make sure to ask you your security questions. But that's pretty much it. We want to make it easy for you guys. So let's go to the underrepresented groups right away. Let's go into the job search because it's a really good question for employers. Sometimes they're telling us, I'm struggling to find people locally. How can I encourage people who don't necessarily, who sometimes they're not on the radar? Well, on the left-hand side, here's what a job seeker would see if they look for it. If were a member of one of these employment groups or underrepresented groups, they could actually filter down how many jobs there are where the employers are encouraging them to apply. They're not saying, oh, I only want to recruit Indigenous people. That's not what they're saying. In this case, it means that for all the jobs that were there, I'm going to select only the ones on JobBank. Nothing against our co-delivery, our partners there, contributing partners, but what it means is that there were at least 7,865 employers who told us, I created a job posting on JobBank and I'd like Indigenous people to feel comfortable to apply. Sometimes it might be the same job where they say, okay, I want to encourage everyone to apply. Might be that. Sometimes it's just one target.
Hey,
Among
Aaron,
others, you will have, oh, go ahead.
can you create an account for an employer using your own personal SIN information?
So the user account is yours. It's never for someone else. So you'll always do it for you. If somebody else tells you, oh, can you do it on my behalf? You can't. The user
So
account is for you.
as an
The employer
employee,
file is for the business.
okay, so the employer files for the business. So you wouldn't want
That's
to
right.
use your own SIN number if you were putting it
Just for
in.
you.
Okay, but what happens if like you're working HR and you're working for
Sure.
Joe Landscaping,
Yep.
um, and it requires a SIN number, but
It's
the
it's still
company,
your own, but the user account is just for you. It's your ticket into the system. But
okay,
it doesn't mean
so
that your employer sees it, and it has nothing to do with the employer yet. It's just for you. It's just for you to to prove that you are eligible for the system. So the
so
way it
you
works is
would
that
need to
once
use your own personal SIN number then to
you
have
have
your
to
own
use your
personal
personal
account.
info.
Okay, okay.
So basically, the user account is yours. You leave that business, it still follows you around. It's not tied to the employer file. What you can do, though, is be associated to an employer file. But that doesn't mean that the information is exchanged. Your employer won't see your info. Well, they may already have it, but they won't see your info. You won't see theirs. You'll just be allowed to operate as somebody who does pretty much what you do on a daily basis if you work HR for that business, but on JobBank. So you work on behalf of that employer on JobBank. They won't see your info. We don't see it either, and you don't get to see them. The business, what we call the employer file, works a little differently. It's not a matter of social insurance number. It's CRA, Canada Revenue Agency. You do have a payroll account number. We do have an agreement with CRA. Whatever you provided to them when the business was created or whoever opened it, and what you submit on JobBank when you create your employer file, we just check it really quickly. Our agents review it, and everything is a match. Your employer file is approved under 5 business days. This morning it was at 2. It takes less than 2 business days to review your employer file. If your employer file already exists, which is often the case for a lot of businesses that just forgot they had it, or there's been a lot of change at HR level, so people don't know, they try to recreate it, and the system tells them it's already in there. So what you do in that case, you reach out to us and you tell us, I'm the new manager, HR manager. I'd like to be associated with this employer file. They may ask you to provide some information at one point. The most common case, whenever it happens, it doesn't happen often, but it's to provide what's called a PD7A form. You can obtain it from CRA online, and they send it to you. You send it to us. You may not have to send it by email because you can actually do it straight from your employer file, from your dashboard.
So should
So we made it easier.
should an employee, say in HR, should they set up the account with their CRA account, like their company's CRA?
Okay, that there might be some confusion here. So, just so that we're clear, okay, the user account is just for you. The employer file is for the business. So there might be like 25 different user accounts tied to that business. I'm going to show you right now. Sorry, I have to take a little tangent. Sorry, from the um, underrepresented groups, but I will be back to Stacy, I promise. So I'm going to show you right now. This is the employer file dashboard. So this is the one that I created. It's a fake one, of course, but it's me. It's going to be me right there, and that's everything about my business. All the businesses that I own there. You can have more than one. I created that as the owner of that business, but it could have been an employee who did that on my behalf if I gave them permission. There's nothing wrong with that. So whoever created the CRA account and is comfortable, payroll number and all that, and is comfortable doing it on JobBank can do it. But anybody who has, let's say, access to that information and wants to do it on JobBank, they'll do it. Basically, what they'll do is if you want to register a new employer, you'll decide who are you to this business. In that case, that would be an employee, right? Based on the question you had, you'll go and then you'll put the payroll account number of the business, whoever worked with CRA or whoever handles that. Usually it's whatever pays people out of, and it's the account it's people are paid out of. And you put that in there. You go on and then you go and explain after that what relationship you have. So you're an employer, but who do you want to be on JobBank for this employer? Do you want to be the main person in charge? You just want to post jobs? What do you want to do? And that's pretty much it. If we see some weird things, I'm sorry. If we see some weird things, like this business has a lot of domain names for some reason, and suddenly you show up with a Gmail address and you say that you're the CEO. All right. We may want to give you a phone call and check with you what's going on. But besides that, often enough, if you do have all the relevant information for that business, you can register that business on behalf of an employer. You can register it for your own business if it's yours. You can register it for your client if you're a lawyer, if you're an immigration agent and you're doing this on their behalf, if you're commissioned by them. What we'll do though, every time somebody creates an employer file, we will send a physical letter to this employer saying, hey, a third party, if you label yourself as a third party, usually employees, not really an issue because everything checks out. But we do reach out to make sure. Uh, this person opened an employer file on your behalf. It's right now we're still looking at it. Can you, if there's anything wrong, tell us. If everything's fine, you don't need to reach out to us. We're good to go. We're still falling under those 5 business days. So those employer files are usually not an issue. So yes, you can open it on behalf of your employer. Nothing wrong with that. And you just follow the steps here. So I'm not sure because it's a pretend environment. So I'm not sure I can actually uh, do that, but I'll try.
Yeah, I think that answers Liz's questions. Great questions, Liz, by the way. Those are much clearer now. Thank you, Emmerich.
All right. So basically, I'm just showing you now how really briefly, I'm not going to do the whole thing, but the system quickly figured out that it was not a real one. But the idea is that you would select the type of business, you would put the operating name, industrial sector, okay, in what construction, manufacturing, trade, retail trade. You pick the one that you think makes the most sense. in there. Construction makes sense for landscaping in that case. The size of the business, that makes sense. So the size of the business will help our agents whenever you're posting, let's say you're recruiting 100 people, but you indicated that you were a size of 1 to 4. We may not just need to check out with you that it was not a typo and you didn't mean 10, something like that. So, okay. I'm not going to go through the whole process, but showing you same as legal business, 8%. There you go. Where the business is. 1, 2, 3. Main. There you go. Ontario. I'm really showing you like if you had the information, the mailing address is the same as the primary business, you're good to go. That is it for the employer file. That's it. That's how long it took me to do it. It's if you had the payroll account number and you know who you are to this business, even if you're an employee doing it on behalf of somebody else, you'd be good to go. It would take about 5 business days for it to be reviewed, and you'd be there. So while it's under review, you can still create job postings. They'll all be pending, but you can start working on it. You can even start creating what's called a business profile, and that allows me to circle back in part to the underrepresented groups. So here's what you can add to encourage people to apply. As in, tell us a bit more about your business. What makes it stand out? Not saying that the others are not as good, but yours has something else, like maybe accessible parking. Maybe it has, I don't know, outdoor footpath. Why not? Just making stuff up at this point. And then, so you can keep going like this. As long as you have it and you would like people to know about it, the way it will show up on the job posting, it will be on the top right corner and it will be literally called business profile, and people can click on it to find out more about it. So it's a way to stand out. Now, support for specific groups, and I believe that's what Stacy was talking about earlier on. How can we stand out to these groups? How can we encourage them to apply, making them feel comfortable that your work environment is inviting them to apply, making them feel comfortable. It's not always easy, especially when these are some of these are jobs that have like a physical dimension that can be challenging at times, but still you can provide some information if you have like physical accessibility accommodations. You have maybe you participate in a government or community program. I don't know. You would know. This list, we expand it. Every year we add more, we remove. We work with specific groups. We do work with Veterans Affairs Canada. We work with the Office for Disability Issues. We work with Indigenous Affairs. Like really, we really try to reach out to them and tell them, okay, how do you think this is making sense from an employer, from a job seeker point of view, and how could we make it even better? So we try every year to make it better. Support for newcomers and refugees. So that's another potential labor force that sometimes people don't consider. They're already here. They might already know the job, or they might be interested in the job. So that's something as well. Do you participate in a government program? Do you provide some support, any kind of support with foreign credential recognition? Whatever you do or you'd be comfortable doing, let's not exaggerate what you can do or not. Then you put it there. Mature workers as well. That's another labor force that we hear a lot about from the job seeker side, but also from sectoral partners telling us, well, I'd consider recruiting a mature worker. Again, up to a point, especially with physical jobs and everything, we want to consider everything. But if whatever you already have there is available and you want people to know about it, you can do that right here. Veterans, of course, another labor force that is definitely worth considering in the underrepresented groups. So whatever it is you do there,
And Rick, while
use.
you're going through this, quick question. It's just a follow
Go
up
ahead.
to Stacy's.
Sure.
Her company was told by Service Canada with regards to her LMIA application that Job Bank was not enough to target underrepresented groups.
For that, for all questions related to the temporary foreign worker program and labor market impact assessment online, if she already has contact with a regional officer, usually it's someone from Service Canada working with the temporary foreign worker program, it's best to deal with them. Because on Job Bank, we pretty much help you post the jobs, but we don't make the rules of the temporary foreign worker program. So that we don't know. So what I do know is that in some cases, you have to have a second option to post. So it's not just on Job Bank, but somewhere else. So I know that sometimes in BC, people used to, before they used Work BC. In Saskatchewan, they'll use SAS Jobs. Some people will use Indeed and Job Bank, ZipRecruiter and Job Bank. So that might have been what they meant there. So I'm not sure, but anything related to the temporary foreign worker program, I would, whoever told you that, whoever was the person you're dealing with, the regional agent assigned to your case or to your applications, talk to them. They'll know more than we do on that end. So I'm sorry cannot help you more than that on this front, Stacy, but it's not within our mandate on this part. We do talk to them, but their policies are theirs, and it's best to deal with them. If you already have a designated officer in your region reviewing your cases and everything, talk to them. It's the best person to tell you what's going on. Um, so basically, that's it. If you want to encourage people from underrepresented groups, you can right here. This is for the business profile. Remember, this is just information, but you can also do it in the job posting. So if we look here, business initiatives, do you offer on-the-job training? Yeah. Do you have mentorship? Sure. Anything that makes sense that you do. And sometimes you guys do it already and don't really see it as like a perk or something to stand out, but it can be. A lot of job seekers saying, "Oh wow, I didn't know these guys like were working that," and sometimes it resonates with people. Composting and recycling makes sense.
That's a really neat area. Where would you put things like if you want somebody who's in apprenticeship training, would you put it in here?
So
Or
apprentices, you would find it in the job posting section as well. But I believe in the specific groups, I will save this and go because I believe that there are options for well, that's not apprenticeship,
yeah, it's
but
not apprenticeship.
there are options a bit before and in the job posting because you can actually select apprentices as a specific category, and job seekers can make themselves known as apprentices as well for you to spot them out faster
Well,
when
that's good.
they
That's
get
great.
matched.
Okay,
I
that's cool.
know.
That's
I
really
know.
good.
I presented to apprentices and soon to graduate apprentices and everything in the last few years, and this is a great option. It works really well because I
So
was an apprentice one at
apprentices
one
can
point. So
find out pretty quickly if a company is hiring apprentices. Like that link is
that's right.
there. Okay, cool.
So I'll show you. So the business profile looks like this, and on a job posting, it will. So I don't know if they have one. I'm just really they may not have one. So we'll see. Sometimes we're lucky. And then sometimes they do have a business profile. Sometimes they don't. Hopefully, I'll find one before the end. But I can show you the one that I have for this one. So basically, this is me. This is my business. What I entered there is there. So everything will show up. There's a shorter version that appears on the right hand side, like a teaser, and then you click on it and you'll see all of this. Everything that you do to support underrepresented groups, anything to encourage them at least to apply, anything you do in your business. And again, we're expanding the list. Remember, if you remember, whenever I don't know if you saw that, but there's also the can't find the option you're looking for. You can make suggestions. Maybe you can enter something that you think should be there that you didn't see, and then we'll add it. If it makes sense, we have meetings pretty much every week. We look at it, and if it makes sense, we'll do it. So that's why it's always a good idea to reach out to us when you do that. So I'm going to save it right now. And basically, yeah, so that's that. What you're seeing at the bottom is a banner because my business is in Ontario. So it's a banner from our Ontario partners. the province of Ontario. If I was in Saskatchewan, the business would show two Saskatchewan banners to encourage people to go and become apprentices, actually, among others. So that's that. So I'm going to go back to my dashboard because now if I have two businesses, one pending and one already approved. And unless there are questions in the chat right now, I'd like to start looking at one of my jobs. So all the job postings that I've created over time are all here. You can tell who I presented to recently, the different sectors. This is a real one as well, for which I created job seeker profiles that matched more or less what I was looking for so that you guys can see what it looks like. So I created one right here, more in your field, or for some of you at least, and one that is not related to you guys, but at least so you can see. So I'm going to show you one that makes sense with you guys, and I'm going to show you how to create one of these jobs, how long it takes to do it. This is what the job will look like once it's posted, when it's live, and what job seekers can see. And remember that a lot of job seekers still use like a bit of old school approach with just keywords, like send me an email with job alerts. What are the keywords? Greenhouse, horticulture, labor, those words in the Ottawa region, in Toronto, in Victoria. And so every time one of your jobs is live, it's added to those ones. So, hey, look, you might be interested in that. And remember as well what I said about the invitations. If you invite a job seeker to reply, they get an email telling them, hey, this employer looked at your profile. They're interested. Go take a look. So there are ways for your jobs not just to be like there on the website, but to live through other means through the job alerts, the invites, the job match profile and everything. So it's a bit more dynamic than just like a standalone job posting. So there's quite a lot of ways for your job to be visible, get picked up, and seen. And we do know that a lot of job seekers, you're like smartphones and everything, they're on the go and they'll get all that. Job Bank is also available for job seekers as an app, a free mobile app. It's not 100% synchronized on the job profile and everything, but they'll see a lot of the jobs on their mobile as well, which is so your jobs will be visible on all kinds of platforms and in different ways. They have different ways to reach out to your potential targets. I just showed you how you could actually stand out with potential targets and sometimes under represented targets that you didn't necessarily think of. So the job posting is right there. This is the summary at the top where the job is, where you'll be working. Remote work is an option as well. I'll show you how to do that for those of you who will be on the go. So we understand usually that the main address that we will look at is where you guys start the day from, or we'll get your paycheck or whatever. We're not going to say, put all the addresses of all your landscaping clients. Like, no, we're not going to do that because you may not even know yourself. So the idea is that we understand that you'll be on the go for nurseries and everything. Usually, and greenhouses, we understand that you may have already different garden centers, different locations that you'd want to put in there, especially if you're spread out for job seekers. Sometimes I know in Ottawa, it can be like a 1 hour difference between one and the other from the same garden center business. So if you want to do that, you can, of course. You don't want to be too specific. You can just put a postal code. You can put an intersection. There are many ways to accommodate how you want to advertise about that. You can post as many, the number of vacancies. Usually we're pretty good with how many you want. Like if you say I want 25, totally makes sense, especially in like summer businesses, like with the focus on like landscaping, nurseries, and everything. We know you might be recruiting like 10, 15, 20 and everything. If it's very high, we might give you a quick phone call or whoever posted the job just to make sure, hey, did you mean 100 or did you mean 10? Like things like that. But overall, we're totally fine with that. You can post your jobs in advance up to, I believe, 6 months now. So if you want to plan ahead of schedule, like you can do an as soon as possible, of course, but you can also say, well, I know I'm going to be needing people then. That's when the job will start. You can post now for later, for a later start. Nothing wrong with that. Usually your jobs will be posted for 14 days. You can extend it. You can start right away at 30 if you want, and you can extend it up to 120. For those of you who may have questions about the temporary foreign worker program, I'm not sure, so don't quote me on that. But I believe in some cases, you still have to keep posting as much as you can. So again, verify that. So never a bad idea to check that. We will send you alerts when your job is about to expire. So you can reach out to us if you want us to do it on the phone with you, or you can do it yourself, or whoever's on your employer file. You can have as many people as you want on your employer file. As long as they have a user account on JobBank and they were added there, usually by an existing member, they can do it for you. It's easy. If you know you're going to be on vacation or you're going to be super busy out in the fields or anything like that, it's a good idea to make sure you do it so it doesn't expire. I know that sometimes it can be a problem for some of those applications. So keep an eye on that. We will send you reminders, but be careful there. Language at work. Remember the type of education, the experience you're looking for this kind of job, and the type of work environment. I'll show you the options. There are quite a lot actually in horticulture, greenhouse, nurseries, and also landscaping. And if you don't find what you're looking for, you can always, again, make suggestions. We add them fairly quickly, so it's pretty good. The type of work setting, the tasks, of course, there's quite a lot of tasks in both your fields, the landscaping and the nurseries. So, quite a lot that I would say, from what I know in my own experience, that it pretty much encompasses the whole thing. But if we're missing some, let us know. We're working on adding 3 certifications, the landscape designer one, the horticulture technician and manager from CNLA. We worked on it on the testing environment this morning and it worked. So hopefully I'll be able to show you a little bit of that. That was a surprise of the day, Anne. So if it works out and everything makes sense translation wise and everything, we'll make it available for you guys. If that's something that's important for you, we want to make sure that you have that option there. So CNLA certifications are there as well. And if you want to add some more later on, and as well, like the clean plants one that you have in partnership with other certifying
Mhm.
authorities and everything, we could look into that as well because I believe
Great. I'm
it's an
so happy to
example, but
see
it's
that.
one of the ones
Yay.
I look for. I did a bit of homework yesterday. I was like, oh yeah, clean plant certification. I heard about this one. So basically, that's we're always looking at expanding and adding. This can be done outside of our release cycle. So as long as it checks out, and we do have a French version for it as well, we can add new certifications, new skills to our database. Pretty much on the go. We want to make sure everything makes sense, of course, and that's why we're counting on you, and we're counting on the CNLA to tell us what makes sense for their members. All right. The type of product we're working on, the type of equipment, of course, and yeah, I want to say that weight handling, the benefits, that's an option, whatever. I support veterans in that case. So Stacy, right there, you see in my job posting, I'm targeting this group where I'm telling them, hey guys, feel comfortable. I would consider your applications. We do have mentorship program, and we can help with immediate transition needs, like maybe housing, relocation, you name it. That's me, and I made it up. If you don't do that, don't feel like you have to, but it's one way to encourage one of these targeted groups to feel comfortable in applying. I do provide support to job seekers, and sometimes they tell me, I don't think they would hire me. Oh, no, I have a disability. I don't think they would even consider me. And I said, well, this employer actually said they would consider you. And I've had a few job seekers tell me after, oh, actually, it was a great job interview. It went really well. Thank goodness I didn't just discard the job postings. Consider those ones. They'll see it, you'll see it as well, and you can, like I showed you before, you can do a bit more for that. So who can apply for this job? Remember, I in that case I selected Canadian citizens, permanent residents, temporary foreign workers with a valid Canadian work permit. You'll see that in the job, and I'll show you just one random one right now. it is actually hidden. They can't see it. So that has limited the number of like ghost applies and everything, or like bots or whatever you name it, to apply randomly to all jobs and everything. And we have spoken to our counterparts in France, Australia, US, like all kinds of places where they told us, yeah, we get the same thing, people applying from everywhere. So we're not judging, we're not saying it's good or bad, but we do know that some smaller businesses are like saying, why am I getting job applications from like Sweden or something like this is so weird. And so that's why we did that. So in order to see how to apply, you actually have to have a physical click, then it shows. And look at that. You can apply directly on job bank. So this is one of those where if you're a job seeker and you have that plus account, I showed you the plus account for job seekers, then you can actually apply directly. Notice that the banners are different at the bottom. These are for job seekers. So the Ontario one I was showing you right there is for me as an employer. This is what job seekers based in Ontario will see. This is for their internship programs and the Ontario summer jobs. If you do have kids in Ontario, this Ontario summer jobs is working right now. I'm not paid to say that, but I'm the one who posted the banners. So basically, yeah, you can apply directly on job banks. So I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to take quick break to see if there are any questions or follow-ups. This is what your job posting would look like. And then I'm going to show you how I came up with that, how I can actually create one from scratch or copy one and target those underrepresented groups. And as those start to look at the metrics, what do I see on Job Bank? What is it that that my jobs are telling me? So quick break right now.
I think
See
you're
if there are
good
any.
on Q&A. I have a
All
question.
right. You go ahead.
Um, Underneath our certifications, which is the CNLA certifications, is that where we
Yes.
would put Red Seal?
So Red Seal, we
Because we
could
are a
add
Red
it
Seal
as well.
trade.
But when I went on the CNLA website yesterday, I couldn't. I could find a mention of Red Seal, but I was struggling to see which one exactly. Because you know how Red Seal is very specific.
Yeah, we are the
Because it's red.
landscape technician, Red Seal.
Okay, so if you could send me that information,
Okay. Yep.
because Red Seal, we do work with Red Seal directly as well to make sure that the certifications we're adding make sense with them as well, not just you guys, but to make sure that they apply. So we'll
Thank
look
you,
into
Emma.
that as well. Send me everything. Of course. Yeah, I saw the Red Seal, but I was like, oh, what is the actual title? So I focused on the other three uh, for now. But yes, absolutely. Red Seal is
Thank
key,
you.
of course. Very important. All right. So if there are any no other questions, I'm going to show you one of these jobs that I created. It's not in your field, but it is a job that attracted some attention. So for the sake of this, I created 5 job seeker profiles, some better than others, some that make more sense with the type of job that I want. Then I want to show you what you got there right there. This is a quick summary of that job at the top. Remember, it looks a bit like what we just saw. And the red maple leaf tells you that it's a Canadian citizen or permanent resident. If it was grayed out, it would be somebody who's a temporary foreign worker. So they do have an end date on their stay, but they are allowed to work in Canada. So that's something to consider. So only people with the social insurance number will show up in your job match dashboard. So you know that they won't be from somewhere else. They will be people who are already vetted by Service Canada, and usually went through the motions with, Immigration Canada and everything, CBSA at the point of entry and all these things. So you don't have to worry about that. Now, of course, remember that when we create a job posting, we have a specific um, um, expectations on their education level, their experience, and we would like to know if they're willing to relocate for this job or not, and if the job was seen by this job seeker. I'm matched to right now. The job posting is matched to right now. And then if I actually already invited them, not to invite them twice by accident. So we have 5 profiles right here. You don't know their names. You see the location, the language, the experience, the education, and the credentials. These are the 5 stars, and the percentage. The higher, the better, of course. Now, sometimes for, let's say, landscape laborer, for example, you may not have high expectations on education, but you may have some on experience. So you may value one more than the other there. Or the opposite. Oh no, I need somebody with the trade certificate here. So the education will be more important and we can train them. So it's up to you to decide. The stars are one thing, the percentages is one thing, but the reality of it is another. And so the feedback we got from some employers as well was like, well, I'd like to know that they meet the requirements, but what if they have a bit more than what I was hoping for or a little less? That's when you have those two little arrows. They're slightly more qualified than what you were looking for or slightly underqualified. So that's important to review there. And in order to review, well, you simply look at their profile right here. Again, anonymous. And here it is. Okay. For this job, I was expecting to train people. I didn't want them to have a lot of experience, and they don't have a lot. Perfect. We're on the same path right there. The education level I was hoping for, or that I mentioned was this. They have that. That's good. Okay. Now, remember, this presentation was for military settings, so you'll see some really interesting requirements there. But a lot of things that I wanted, they didn't have. But again, I was ready to train them, remember, so I could bypass that and be okay with it. So I can invite them to apply. And then they'll receive an invitation right away. They'll get an email right away, and then can go take a look. And what they'll go to is the job posting I just showed you. They'll go to that, they'll enter that, and then it'll tell them, do you wish to apply? And you remember that job right there, which was how to apply directly on JobBank. They log in, they can apply to your job right away. And that's it. So you can also recheck the profile and say, I don't want to see it anymore. It will disappear from your matches completely. So for everything that you want that they have, you'll get some green check marks. Look, this profile has more green check marks now. Look at that. That's much better. This is much more interesting. All right, this is good. I already invited them to apply. So we're good. They received it. It's up to them to decide whether or not they want to apply. And if they do through direct apply, I would already have their resume. Well, look at that. I do. It's right here. They sent me their resume the same day. And they already indicated that they're willing to relocate. So if they're not exactly where the business is or where we'll be working, they could actually go there. I already viewed their profile and invited them to apply, and they sent me their resume right there. And it matches the number. That's me right there. And you can download that resume, take a look at it, review it, and you can do whatever you want with it after that. Follow your normal hiring process. You want to invite them to apply or not. Take a look, make sure that they didn't exaggerate, embellish their resume. Sometimes they tend to maybe aggrandize their skills. But then after that, it's up to you. But you can do all that from here. That dashboard tells you everything about this job.
Out of curiosity, if the individual was here on a temporary visa previously and therefore they
Yeah,
have a SIN, is there a way that
yeah.
JobBank sorts them out of the availability if their visa has expired? Is the temporary
Ah, good
SIN
one.
flagged for expiry date?
Yeah. So expiry of visa. I believe the question was brought up recently during a meeting with the temporary foreign worker program. But I'm not sure we got the answer right away on that day. So if you don't mind sending me this one um,
I will.
either through
Yeah.
the chat that's working, or because I'd like to pick the brain of the team that does that, because on our end we don't really have that kind of information. Again, like once you have created a user account, and we don't really go and look into it. We're not really interested in what's going on there with your user account. So technically, I think it should still appear in those matches. After that, and remember that often for job seekers, it is their responsibility to make sure that they are, using the that their SIN is still valid, that they still have their work permit, they fall within the work permit rules and all the dates and all. It's not always the employer's fault and or responsibility to look at all these things. It's important, of course, but it's also within the job seeker's purview to just make sure that they know. And then usually that end date is known. It's not a surprise because it's in the passport. It's actually printed out, and it's pretty clear. So, but I will ask definitely if you have that, if you can put that in a question, maybe in a separate email and everything. I definitely want to know. So I don't know. Our testing environment
I'll
might be on
email
lunch
you a
break now.
summary of the I'll email you a summary of the questions so you can answer them, and then I can get back to Stacy.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So right now, our testing environment is taking a break. So I had showed you almost everything. I was almost, at least for that, from that section. So I'm going to stop sharing just for a sec. The job posting, as I said, it's up to a maximum of 120 days of visibility. If you don't want it to get picked up by other job boards, you can tell us. We can do that for you. If you're actually okay with that, then we can do that as well. Okay.
So did you want me just to open up everyone's mics?
Yeah, let's do that for now because there are other things I can show you on Job Bank right there. So basically, the job seekers that you have right there, those profiles, it allows you to track everything, and that's the last thing I was going to show you, which was oh, there you go, it works again.
Well, I've just
So,
opened up the floor to
oh,
everybody.
but go ahead, by all means, yes,
So if
by all
anybody
means,
wants to
yes.
ask specific questions, you can now do so.
And don't hesitate if you have any questions. It's always a pleasure to take a break, take a look at what you wanna look at. So these were my matches. Remember, right here in my job right there. There you go. Let's go take a look at them, and then hopefully this time it doesn't crash. Testing environment can be funny sometimes. This is the metrics. These are the metrics I was talking about. How many matches do I have for this job? I have five. But you want to go take a look at them? You can always go. That's where we came from. How many profiles did I view? How many invitations did I send? How many profiles did I reject? How many people viewed my job or indicated they were interested in applying? This, for some of you guys, you might see some high numbers here. It's likely to happen. Sometimes you might not see a lot. So what's going on? Is your salary a little too low? Did you make sure to include all the tasks? Did you put too many tasks and you scared them away? That happens sometimes. Like forklift operations, like, oh, I don't know how to do that. You'd like them to sometimes, but if they don't have it, is it a deal breaker? It's up to you. You decide. So sometimes people put job posting with tons of skills and tons of expectations and everything. Sure, it's up to you. Sometimes they go, maybe not. And then again, there is the other side of it. I'm not saying that it's better or whatever. Some employers tell me, yeah, I don't want to spend too long on job bank. I want to post a job and I want to put a link to my business and that's where they'll apply to. And that's it. And it's fine. You can do that as well. But if you want a bit more, if you want to connect directly to job seekers, if you want to reach out to them, be able to send them invitations to apply, review their resume straight on JobBank and not in your email inbox or anything like that. All the ones will be stored there. You can even archive all of that. It's something to consider. It makes it easier to have like a one-stop shop for all your jobs. Everything will be there. Everything will be in one place. So I'm going to show you really quickly how to create the job right now and how to copy one. And then after that, I'll show you a few more things that we can also do on jobbing. All right, so create a new job posting for this guy. Sure. All right. Proceed to job title. So we're gonna put we go by keywords, right? So anything that starts like that will pop up right here. Landscaper, landscape worker, landscape planner, painter, laborer, gardener, designer, architect, foreman. We got quite a few. So we're going to go with this guy. If you have suggestions in the chat or you want to actually say it, by all means, say it if you want to suggest something, some kind of skill, whatever. These are the descriptions. If they fall within what you like, you pick the one that's better. Sometimes some keywords are better than others, or job seekers react more to some words. I know that in Saskatchewan, they still use the term journeyman or journeywoman plumber, more popular in some parts of Canada than others. So if it makes sense, if it resonates well with you, by all means, go ahead. You see that knock number I was talking about? They're all the same, but they have different job titles associated to it. So I'm going to go and pick the first one. I like what I'm seeing. Um, right there, it's easy to miss sometimes with add a secondary job title. For those of you, let's say maybe I'm thinking on the nursery greenhouse side here, and you say, so you're going to be stocking shelves, you're going to be helping with pickups out back, uh, and you'll also take care of the cash. You're like, oh, well, cash. Yeah, so cashier is not really something that pops up in the landscape, not in that landscape labor, of course. I'm just adding to it for the sake of this presentation, but um, there you go. So you'd be actually also doing that. And so it's going to say landscape laborer or greenhouse laborer with some duties as a cashier. So it doesn't come as a full surprise when they arrive on day one and say, oh yeah, you're going to handle the cash in the afternoon after the morning deliveries and everything. It's like, what? So you can do that if you want. You don't have to, but it's an example. Proceed to target audience. So who are we talking about in terms of who your target audience is right now? Default, anyone. Students, if you want. Interns, not really for you guys, but still, you pick. Remember the one I was showing you earlier on, Canadians and authorized workers. I think this is the one that makes the most sense. For some of you guys, this one might make more sense. I cannot tell you which one to pick if you're going to apply for LMIAs and all that. I do not know that. I don't know the rules there. And the targeted groups that Stacy was mentioning earlier on, here they are, remember? Now, this is more than just a business profile, but it's more or less the same list. So if you do whatever you have there to encourage them and make them feel comfortable in applying, say, oh, I hope they have a ramp. Oh, they do. Wonderful. Great to know. That can be a deal maker or breaker for some people. I know that it can make a big difference. Newcomers to Canada, youth, veterans in the Canadian Armed Forces. There you go. And I work with the Veterans Affairs, including the Hire a Veteran campaign every year in July. And they have a lot of veterans who are looking for jobs. So there you go. Indigenous people, mature workers. We are always adding categories to that. We're always doing it to reflect the needs of these groups, these job seekers. Number of vacancies, you can go high. I think it stops at 100. And then that usually when you get to 100, you get questions, especially if the size of the business is small. But we are aware, and our agents on the ground, like in the provinces and territories, they know that in landscaping, you might need some help. You know, might not just recruit one person, you might recruit 10 or whatever, and you have more than one site. Same for the greenhouse. There are quite a few big garden centers I know in Ontario where I go to. I can tell the number of people working there. It's not two or three, it's quite a few. So it makes sense. On-site, hybrid, when you're going to be in person or remotely. On the road makes a ton of sense for landscaping, of course. We understand. So you won't have to provide all the addresses and everything. Remote doesn't make much sense for you guys unless you're recruiting your accountant or something like that and they can work from home. Use the business location. Yes, makes sense. Don't worry about too many locations. But if you do manage, they say garden centers and everything, you say, oh, I'd like all of them to be listed because we're going to be hiring for one, then sometimes for another. No problem. You can do that too. If there is a secondary location, you can add it as well. If you feel like it, you can just add a postal code if you want to be specific. If it's just going to be a warehouse in the middle of nowhere and then, or one of those landmarks there where I live in rural Ontario, so I can see sometimes it's just like intersections and you know where to go. It's not a real address. You can do that. Days to be posted. By default, it starts at 14, max is 30, and you can extend it up to 120 times. So four more times. You can do that up to 120. You can call us if you're in a jam and you're like, I don't have access to a computer. Can you do it for me? We'll check your credentials and everything, and then we can help you. Depending on the time you're calling, it might be a bit busy. So period of employment, permanent, term, contract, casual, seasonal. Seasonal makes sense for some of you guys, so you can pick that if you want. Casual term, you pick. When does it start? Right now, or you can go with a specific date. It will tell you if you go past the 6 months. If you do know the end date already, as well, if it's like a 3 months contract, whatever. So I think we'll see if it allows me to do that. Full-time, part-time, part-time leading to full-time. You pick. You can be specific with the work hours if you want. You can say a bit more, like early morning, overtime, and everything. If you are going to request overtime, it makes sense to do it because the provincial territorial agents will pick on that and they'll say, wait, 65 hours and you didn't click overtime. So you pick specific salary or range. It's up to you. For those of you who will be going the LMIA route and do know that they have guidelines on that, take a look at that. I don't know what they are, but take a look at that. Uh, Frequency, it's per hour in that case. You can go per day, week by weekly, month, year. You select whatever makes sense. Range, the hours, range. We're going to go with 40 to, let's say 55 per week. Again, you can choose week by weekly, month, year. The benefits, if you do have any, pick them there. They will show in your job postings. Sometimes it makes sense. I know free parking is one that can make sense in some cases. That can be interesting. If you do have healthcare, dental, whatever, you pick free parking. I'm going to go there. Proceed to requirements. Which one is it? Oh, yeah, business location. There you go. Primary business address. Sorry. The system will pick on that. If you're putting some things that are weird, it'll just tell you, oh, you sure? Or you're going to have to do something there. It won't let you make crazy mistakes there. Education, no degree, secondary high school, registered apprentice certificate. There is our apprenticeship. And right there, you can put it right here. Fields of study, enter keywords, can be, let's say in that case, so, oh yeah, it's construction. It's considered construction. Yeah, and then they have different types of construction there. So I don't know if we have that one. All right, we're gonna go with construction trades if that's something you'd like. If you don't want anything, you don't put anything in there. Well, you still have to put something. Experience 1 to less than 7 months. Other official languages, you can go with English, French, bilingual, English, or French. Additional languages, if it makes sense, if it applies. Other requirements, that's why it's important to click on this. Each one. Go for each one and select everything. Remember, the job seekers, when they create their job profile, they see the exact same list. If they were a landscape laborer at one point, they'll see the exact same thing. That's how you get direct matching. So it will be outdoors. It'll be maybe dusty, might be hot, might be cold. Okay. And if it's my greenhouse right now, way too humid. I cannot control humidity right now. I'm in a bad place. So, landscape contractor. Okay. You pick. You pick whatever makes sense with this, whatever is relevant for you guys. And if you don't find it, you can make a suggestion. We can take a look at it. Sometimes if you put it there and let's say you can search, and if you still don't find it, then you can tell us. But sometimes you can borrow a skill from another job. You say, "Oh yeah," and they'll also have to take care of deliveries. So I don't know. I'm gonna try. I'm not so sure. Delivery and courier service, delivery. Yeah. So maybe delivery driver. Maybe delivery and pickup parcels, because sometimes I do know some of the garden centers in the Ottawa region, they can just deliver to you. So they'll bring you like your like earth or something like that, like rocks, stone, sand, whatever. So basically, that's also maybe one of the tasks you'd want that person to have. So we're gonna add it to this one, and it's right there, and it tells you that you just did it. So whatever you think makes sense, go ahead and do it. So now, right now, this is what you see. And soon we'll be adding 3 more. And eventually, depending on how you feel, and we could remove this one altogether and just have the 3 that make the most sense. Because this one, I believe, is too generic at this point. But it's a good start. At least we have
If they want
something there.
recognition in there.
That's right, absolutely. And for your members, it might be important to know that they're dealing with somebody who went through the motions, who's been vetted already. So that makes sense. Okay, so proceed to how to apply and how do you want them to apply? Well, direct apply. Remember the one I showed you earlier on, the one where people can apply directly from their job seeker profile right there. So I do know one of the rules is that you cannot just use direct apply by itself for now. It might change. So you need direct apply and something else. So if you do go with the direct apply, you may have to add something else. You want them to apply directly to your website. You have your own HR section on your website. If you do have it, by all means, go ahead and put it there. I do know that some employers sometimes they don't have that, but they just have a Facebook page. That is problematic because it's just links to Facebook. But I know that they've allowed it a few times in some cases. So take a look at it and reach out. I can ask the operational team if they changed their processes with that. So add other applications methods. So yeah, by mail. Why not? I want people to write to that if you want that. Emails usually make more sense, but it's up to you guys. You can put a job reference number. You can ask them to put a cover letter. If you do have a job reference number, you would call it like landscape job one. So you'll know for which job it is if you have more than one going at the same time. So there you go. You want them to have a cover letter. You want them to, if you're recruiting students, you maybe want them to show that they are enrolled at the moment. And you may have some screening questions. Can you work on call, shifts? Are you a student? Are you legally able to work in Canada? This is a top up. Normally, if you had already selected the other one, this is like another one. But again, you might still find some people who find their ways, not with job match, of course, but with simply posting the job search. What kind of job matching mode do you want? Do you want like default, as in which opens up to people who have some of the skills you want and might be included in there? Like the first one I showed you in my results, which was, it's all right, not great. It's okay. Or more like, I want people who have exactly what I'm looking for and nothing else. So you just get five, like I have, and you won't get like 50 to review. It's up to you. You decide. You can change it. Again, I do know that for the labor market information access application, they have a requirement. I believe it's default, but maybe I'm wrong. So you might want to go and review that with them as well if you're going that route. And that would be that. You can save it as a draft. You can submit it. You can, if you submit it, again, 2 more days for this. Remember, it's right here, my draft. These are the expired ones. And so I can submit it 2 days, but now I'm like, I have this greenhouse labor job from last year. Can I just copy it? Yes, you can. Click copy right here, review everything. It makes sense. Yeah, it's still the same. Yeah, nothing has changed since last year. It's the same. I'm all still encouraging veterans to apply. Yeah, everything is the same. The number of vacancies hasn't changed. Everything is the same. Oh, wait, no. Now it's $22, $23, whatever you pick. But we changed since last year. There's one quick update to make. Oh, yeah, we have a free parking now. Before it was available, but they had to pay. Now it's free. That's it. That's the only changes I made. We're good. Yeah, we're good. We're good. Yep, yep, yeah. Everything I needed is right here. Yeah, everything. Yeah, yeah. Tractor, forklift. Yeah, everything I need is here. We'll go. We still want them to apply with direct apply and by email. Everything makes sense. Yeah, default. Review, review, submit. Okay. Oh, they're telling me that it might be a duplicate in case you don't want, 2 jobs for the same thing. But I know that it's last year's job, so I'm good. All right, now I'm going to submit it. And hopefully within 2 business days, the job will be approved. So what's going on right now is that my greenhouse laborer job, actually, I think I had asked one of my colleagues to monitor what I was doing, so it's already live. It's already been approved. Yay. No matches yet, but I'll take a look at it again tomorrow to see if that zero turns into a one, a two, a three, a four, a five, whatever. And so I can start looking at those profiles like I showed you before. And you can invite people to apply, review them, send them, interview them, and hire them, hopefully, really quickly. And that's pretty much that for that. I'm going to take a quick look at this. And I focus really on the employer side, the how to create those jobs, how to um, uh, market them to a specific targeted group, how to stand out with the business profile. I'm going to put this in the chat right now. Hopefully you can see it. This has quick 2-minute videos on how to create that user account if you haven't done it yet, how to create an employer file, what you need. It's all there, quick videos, why you need the social insurance number, all these things. Quick videos there right here, how to create the account, create the employer file, how to post the job like I just showed you, how to use job match for employers. Again, it's all there. Really, really useful. It's called Jobbing Intro. If you do have questions, you can always go there to find out more. The network is right there. Remember, I was talking about Career Beacon, Indeed, Jobilico, LinkedIn. There's Magnet as well, Monster, Talent, PSC, Talent X, ZipRecruiter. They're all there. That doesn't mean that all those jobs will be on JobBank, but a lot of them will be, or JobBank jobs will also be on their platforms. So really cool to see that, and we're expanding the list of partners contributing job boards. Um, if you need to know more about the labor market information, maybe for some of you who are just starting a business or getting back to it and can ask sometimes questions as simple as like, how much should I pay people? I know how much I paid me before I hired people, but how much should I pay like my landscape laborers in let's say uh, you know in near Victoria, let's say BC. All right. So here's everything you need to know about this job over there. The prospects are very good. Not a surprise. We actually have jobs on JobBank for this region and this type. What does it entail? What does it mean? You know, but some job seekers may not know, so they might go take a look there as well. How much people are paying there? On the low end, the high end, and the median one. All right, good to know. Job prospects are good for the next 3 years based on the data we got. You want to know more about how we calculate all that? It's all right here. Really useful. The requirements and everything. Sometimes you have to have a specific trade. You have to have a license and everything. So there you go. And all the competencies related to this kind of job and everything you need to know here. It's useful for employers who may not know how much to pay, how much their competitors are paying, what's going on in there, and or just starting in the job, or very often for job seekers who are thinking about this kind of career, or even for a summer job or something like that, and they'll find out all this really good information right here. You have questions about JobBank, you're really not sure, you heard some things I told you today and you're not sure, you can always go into our support page right here. I'm going to put it in the chat as well, and I will leave it at that. If you do have questions, you can always reach out to Anne, and then she can send me your questions afterwards. I'll gladly take a look at them and reply. We're always adding new skills and new job titles, new categories on JobBank. We take really into consideration all the feedback we get from employers like you guys. And that is pretty much it. I wish you all a great season for all your projects and everything. And if you have any questions right now, by all means, go ahead. And if
That,
it's later,
that's great.
send them Anne's way.
I'll get you to unshare your screen. We can open the floor. We have looks like 3 people left on our call here. Um, Anyone can speak if they want, or we can just wrap things up, which I think is happening here. Great webinar once again, and we look forward to hearing from you again next year.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. I wish you guys a great season. Thank you, Anne.
Great.
And let's
Take
keep in
care.
touch for the other certifications.
For sure. Okay. Take care. Cheers.